Excellency President Sahle-Work Zewde, President of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Excellency Mrs. Grace Michel, Chair of the International Board of Trustees of the African Child Policy Forum, CEO of Plan International, CEO of Christian Children Fund of Canada, Dr. Asefa Bekweli, Executive Director of African Child Policy Forum, Excellency Madame Naniki Nekwe, Chair of the Child Rights Committee, Honorable Ministers, guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Sabah al-khair, good morning and bonjour. First, allow me, on behalf of the African Union Commission Chairperson and on behalf of His Excellency, the Deputy Chairperson, who I acknowledge his presence here among you participants. He's sitting humbly. I don't know if Dr. Asefa knows that he's around, but I just recognized him among the audience. On behalf of His Excellency, the Deputy Chairperson of the African Union Commission, allow me to express my sincere thanks and profound appreciation to the African Child Policy Forum for organizing this conference on a timely and relevant issue of concern for Africa. We in the African Union regard ACPF as a key partner with whom we have jointly worked on several issues over many years. The wealth of evidence generated and the reports produced by ACPF have been important sources of information, both in the preparation of our own reports and in assessing the performance of African governments in meeting their obligations under the African Children's Charter. We consider ACPF a special and privileged partner. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, the right to food is a basic human right implied in the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The jurisprudence of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights clearly shows this. The right is even more pertinent to children who are physically more vulnerable to hunger and malnutrition. It is with this in mind that the African Union Commission has unwavering stand and commitment to eradicate child hunger from Africa. The African Charter on Rights and Welfare of the Child provides for the right to health and health services. This includes the provision of adequate nutrition and safe drinking water, combating malnutrition within the framework of primary health care through the application of appropriate technology, and ensuring that all sectors of society are informed or supported in the use of basic knowledge of child health and nutrition. The Charter further provides for parental responsibilities, which gives the state parties the obligation to assist parents and other persons responsible for the child, and in case of need, provide material assistance and support programs with regards to nutrition, among other things. Furthermore, Aspiration 5 of AU's Agenda 2040 states that every child grows up well-nourished and with access to basic necessities of life. Agenda 2040 is for child protection and is aligned with Agenda 2063. Aspiration 5 of Agenda 2040, on the other hand, contains detailed goals for the first 5-year implementation phase, which ends in 2020. The goals for state parties include supporting family and community-based action, allocation of adequate resources, achieving universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all, adopting pro-poor social protection policies and programs, entrenching socioeconomic rights within national legislation or constitution, implementing laws prohibiting child begging, develop legislations and policy for children in need of alternative care or support group, and others. The implementation of all these goals is monitored by the Child Rights Experts Committee in collaboration of key stakeholders, including other AU institutions and organs, regional economic communities, civil society organizations. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, the African Union as a whole is highly committed to eradicating child hunger in Africa. To this effect, the AU has over the last decade taken several initiatives to encourage governments to take action to reduce and eliminate hunger and malnutrition from across the continent. Allow me to highlight very briefly some of the key actions taken by the AU. In 2013, African heads of states and governments declared their resolve to end hunger on our continent by 2025. I refer in particular to the Malabo Declaration on accelerated agricultural growth and transformation for shared prosperity and improved livelihoods, committing the continent to this objective. The declaration aims to sustain the gains made by the Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Program known as CADIP. Another key AU program aimed at reducing hunger and poverty through agricultural development. Perhaps the most important framework in this regard is the Africa Regional Nutrition Strategy 2015-2025. The strategy includes 6 clear and achievable global targets for nutrition improvement by 2025. 40% reduction of the number of children who are stunted, 50% reduction of anemia in women of childbearing age, 30% reduction of low birth weight, no increase of overweight in African children, increase exclusive breastfeeding rates to at least 50%, and reduce and maintain childhood wasting to less than 5%. Excellencies, the Commission, in partnership with the African Leaders for Nutrition, ALN, an initiative of the African Development Bank for high-level political engagement to advance nutrition in Africa. The ALN was endorsed by heads of states and governments in 2018, and the scorecard for nutrition developed by the ALN was also endorsed by the Assembly in February of this year, 2019. We are pleased that Her Excellency Grace Michel and our AU champion on nutrition, His Majesty King Leslie III, are members of the ALN. The Commission has also engaged with FAO in a technical cooperation program on nutrition and food security with a special focus on the first 1,000 days of a child's life. Another program with FAO is to influence and generate innovative investments in school feeding and ultimately food security that will build a foundation for productive human capital in Africa. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in collaboration with WFP and UNICEF, a significant number of our member states, 16 in total, have conducted the cost of hunger in Africa studies. Using national data, these studies have revealed to policymakers the cost of the negative consequences of stunting and malnutrition to a nation's development and to the GDP of our countries. Thanks to these policy frameworks and similar other initiatives, we see improvements across the continent. Nutrition policies, strategies, and action plans are being updated at the national level, and appropriate institutional arrangements are being put in place. However, progress is far from being satisfactory. The findings of the initial report of the Continental Nutrition Accountability Scorecard, which was developed by the African Union in collaboration with the African Leaders for Nutrition and endorsed by the Assembly of Heads of States, to monitor Africa's progress in meeting global and continental nutrition targets by 2025 are deeply concerning. Half of African countries are off track to meet targets of reducing stunting by 40%. Targets, and only 15 countries are on track to reduce wasting targets to less than 5%. This is why we need to do more to eliminate hunger from our continent. Excellencies, we are now only 6 years away from our 2025 commitments, 30 years after the adoption of the Convention on the Rights and Welfare of the Child Charter. It is fitting as well as essential to pause and reflect on how far we come as a continent in meeting our obligations to eliminate child hunger. Most importantly, we should deliberate on what more needs to be done. It is my hope that this gathering will, by the end of tomorrow, put forward some key and concrete recommendations that will further enhance our collective effort toward meeting our objective of a hunger-free Africa. The African Union, ladies and gentlemen, remains committed to the cause that has brought us together today. We are committed to ensure that legal and policy frameworks are effectively implemented, progress is monitored and reported, and that governments are held to account. Excellencies, investing in our children's health is an investment of the future of Africa. Thank you for listening.